What's going on, you YouTubers? It's the greatest noob, T-Bert325, and I'm here with a rulings question. Now, recently today, I had a friend text me, ask me the question: can Droll Lock Bird be chained to the spellbook library of the Crescent? Now, as you know, Droll Lock Bird is one of the choice cards of this format because it stops a lot of different things from going off in your deck, in your opponent's deck. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not going to get into all the mechanics of that, but I'm going to answer your question: can it be chained? The answer is no. Reason being is this card is not a chainable card. Let's read the card text of Droll Lock Bird. If your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to their hand, except during the draw phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, period. For the rest of the turn, neither player can add card or cards from their deck to their hand. Now, drawing cards is also considered as adding a card to the hand. So if they draw outside of their draw phase, then after that resolves, you can actually activate the effect of Droll Lock Bird. Now, at face value, the question was, can the card be chained? No. And this is where it's really important because you have to use the right terminology, otherwise you're going to get a wrong answer or the answer you're not looking for. Can this card be chained to the Crescent? No, it cannot. But after Crescent resolves, it can respond to it. Now, his counter argument was, well, how is that so? Because the last thing that happened is shuffling. Well, let's take it back a little bit. At any point in time, if you're activating any cards like Pot of Duality, Crescent, or Malefic World, what happens is the mechanic says if we have to take something random from the hand or add something to the hand, the cards cannot physically go back toward the middle or just the top unless the card itself specifies that. Otherwise, it has to go back to the deck and shuffled it. Now, even though it mentions on the card that the deck has to be shuffled afterward, that's part of a mechanic that it wants to make sure that you actually know to do that. So, now, the second part of the argument was, what about Droll Lock Bird missing the timing? Well, that's the funny part is this card cannot miss the timing. The key word on the card is if your opponent does this action. Now, they're probably going to say something like, well, the last thing to happen was not the adding. The last part was shuffling. Now, the thing is with the keywords of if and when you can, when ... you can. When this action occurs, you can. If that is the case, that card can miss timing. However, cards that have if ... you can, or if ... do this action will never miss timing, because as soon as this current action or chain link or chain resolves, you're legally allowed to activate the effect of the monster, the magic, or the trap card that you're waiting to activate. So also with mandatory effects. If mandatory effects are triggered in the middle of a chain, they have to wait until the current chain or action is resolved and then they legally activate. Case in point, Dandelion. If I sacrifice Dandelion for the effect of enemy controller to take control of your face-up monster, Dandelion is triggering, but it cannot activate yet because there's a current chain forming. So at the end of that, we have the mandatory effect going on chain as soon as this current chain resolves. Now, same thing with Wind-Up Magician. Wind-Up Magician has if the effect of a wind-up monster is activated, doesn't matter if it resolves, as long as the activation is not negated, then you can special summon a wind-up monster from your deck to the field. Now, keyword there was if. It had to wait until the shark in the hand is completely triggered and that chain is resolved. Now, if the activation of shark's effect was not negated, then at the resolution of shark hitting the field, magician will special summon something. Same thing as Wind-Up Factory. They both have if on there. So there's few things you need to worry about is making sure that you look at the keywords and how the sentences are structured. So that way you can come up with your own conclusion, or even ask one of your head judges or one of your good friends who's actually knowledgeable about Yu-Gi-Oh! So until then, if you have any questions, you know what to do. Hit me up on my inbox. Hit me up on Facebook at Ontario, the greatest noob, Durgan, and I'll be happy to get to your questions. Now, this upcoming week is going to be really, really hectic for me since I have to be working a lot of overtime. It is currently about 10:48 p.m. and I will be awake at 4 a.m. to get ready to go back to work. So I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. And remember, Play like a noob, win like a pro. But learn your rulings. Greatest noob out.